All right, everybody, here's another mixture problem. This is example number 2. A chemist has 40 milliliters of a solution that is 50% acid. How much water should he add to make a solution that is 10% acid? All right, so let's kind of go through the information here. I already set up the table. So we have a 40 milliliter solution that's 50% acid, and we want to add water to that, right? So we have a solution, and I'm just going to put, we'll just put 50% solution. The reason I'm adding the 50% there is because when we add water, we're gonna get another solution, right? So we're gonna add water, and then we'll get the mixture, right? And that's gonna be, obviously another solution. So that's why I wanted to add the 50% there, just to clarify. All right, so now we have a concentration. Remember, in the last example, we saw that sometimes that's a rate. In this case, it's definitely a concentration in terms of percentage, right? And we're talking about percent acid, right? Percent acid. And here you see it again, percent acid, right? So our 50% solution, you guessed it, is 50%, right? And I'm just going to convert that to a decimal, so that's going to be 0.5, okay, or 0.50 if you want, okay? All right, and then the other solution, or the other concentration they give us, is we want to make a resulting solution that's 10% acid, right? So we want our mix to be 10% acid, okay? And that's going to be 0.1 as a decimal, correct? Now here's a little bit of a tricky part. They don't tell us the concentration of water, right? But they assume we know that, right? If we're talking about concentration in terms of percent acid, then what percent acid is water? And you guessed it, it's 0%, right? Water has 0 acid in it, right? We're talking about pure water. So whenever you have a pure substance, by definition, it's going to be all or nothing, right? It's going to be, pure water is 100% water, but it's 0% acid, okay? And so we're going to have 0 for our value there, okay? All right, so now let's talk about the amount. We know the amount this time of the 50% solution, right? We know it's 40 milliliters, so I'm going to put in 40 here, okay? And I'm just going to tag milliliters here for the amount, okay? Now water, that's what they're asking for, right? How much water should he add, right? So I'm going to call that X. So X, amount of water, right? H2O. And we're talking about milliliters. Okay? All right. And so what do you think our mix is going to be? Well, remember that we have a relationship. If we add our components, we get our mixture, right? Our solution. And so in this case, it's going to be X plus 40 or 40 plus X. All right. And now remember, what we do is we multiply the values in the concentration and amount column, and that gives us our value column, right? And in this case, our value is how much acid, right? And so we're trying to figure out how much acid is in each of these substances, right? Or in each of these solutions. And so for the 50% solution, if we multiply 0.5 times 40, 0.5 times 40, we get 20, right? Okay. For water, 0 times X, 0. So we have 0 amount of acid in water, right? We kind of talked about that before. And then for our mixture, we would multiply 0.1 times X plus 40. Okay. And so then remember, if we add the amount of acid in the 50% solution plus the amount of acid in water, that should give us the total amount of acid in the mixture. And so there's our equation. 20 plus 0 equals 0.1 times x plus 40. Okay? All right, and then let's see here. If you don't use a table, then remember that you can kind of piece it together by just remembering, okay, this is the value of our concentration, our 50% solution. This is the value of our pure water, and this is the value of our mixture. Okay, so 50% solution, our water, H2O, and then our mixture, right? And so that's kind of how it works, is if you add the two components, this component, you get the mixture. Okay. All right. Thanks for watching, and I'll pause it, and then I'll write in the solution. But I think you all know how to do the solution for the most part. All right. So we did the math, and we realized that we have 160 milliliters of water. Okay. And so anyway, if you have any questions about the math, you can definitely let me know, or email me or bring it to class tomorrow. And let's see, one other thing I wanted to say is, notice how we started with a 50% solution, and then we added 0%. So remember that our mix is 10%, right? So think about, is 10% closer to 0, or is it closer to 50% or 0.5, right? And 10% is closer to 0, so that means you should add more water than you add the 50% solution, right? Whatever your mixture concentration is, if it's closer to one component or the other, that means, well, whatever component it's closer to, I should say, that means you added more of that component than the other, right? So that's kind of a little bit of number sense, and just a way to kind of check your answer and see if you're in the right vicinity. All right, thanks for watching.